Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. I am Jessica Ba, and in today's video, we are going to be talking all about the bonus tip that I forgot to give you guys in the last video. If disorders such as bipolar or depression, anxiety, OCD, and I even went as far as to name schizophrenia, I do believe that it is possible to go through processes that will allow you to recover from those things within yourself. And I promised that after I gave you the first step to take, which was making a list of all the emotional sides of yourself that you don't like, or that I promised that I would give you guys a bonus tip to help you get off to the best foot in taking that first step. And I completely forgot. I am so sorry. Charge it to my head, not my heart. I definitely have a terrible memory. But the good news is that this entire video is going to be all about that bonus tip. Not even just so much for that first step as it is going to apply to every step in this process of self-recovery that we are embarking on together. I'm going to remind you, and I want you guys to remind me of the importance, throughout these videos and throughout our journey together of avoiding these things that I'm about to tell you. List making mode, because as you can see on my junk here, I've been downtown taking photos and stuff and preparing for this video, but it's particularly important to avoid these particular emotions when you're making your list of things that you don't like about yourself, because these emotions are going to just get in your way, and at the end of the day it's just going to cause you to possibly backtrack or not want to be involved in the process at all. Some emotions that you're going to want to lost the paper there, mate. So there are some emotions that you're going to want to avoid. A lot of it might feel counterintuitive or unnatural for you to avoid these emotions. Self-pity is the first one. Self-pity is the first one. And you might feel self-pity like as you're going through the process and you're writing down your things that you don't like about yourself emotionally. You might feel like, oh, why am I like this? And it's going to be so hard for me to get better because I have all this stuff working against me. You might just, feel sorry for yourself. That emotion has no place in this process of self-recovery. Okay. So, you might feel overall sadness or negativity about your future, about your current situation, and about your past. All of that needs to be put out the window. Like, you can feel that on your own time, but when you're doing this process, when you're engaged in this process, I encourage you. I should have went somewhere quieter. Darn it. But during this process, those feelings don't have a place because they're not going to help you. You have to be committed to this. And in order to be committed, you have to feel good about it. Even if you have to fake it till you feel it, fake it till you feel it. Don't allow yourself to sit in moments and periods and hours and days where you feel like, oh, this is not worth it. And woe is me. Look at how much I have to fight and get through in order to get better. The second emotion you want to avoid is feeling guilty. Feeling guilty about whatever you did in your past or where you are currently or any of that stuff is not going to help. Guilt in itself, there's nothing wrong with that emotion in and of itself, but dwelling there while you're trying to recover is not going to help you at all. It doesn't matter who's to blame, whether you feel like you're guilty, whether you feel like someone else is guilty of why you are where you are. It does not matter who is to blame. At this moment, all that matters is getting you back on a path of mental order and emotional order and emotional order. Blah, blah, blah. Be patient with people. That's why I put up that little box that says be patient with people who stutter, because I get tongue-tied all the time. But so guilt is not going to help you. If you want to take a moment to say, okay, well, if I can see how this person may have been responsible for that, or I was responsible for that, let that be the end of it, though. Don't take it all the way to dwelling for hours and hours on whose fault it is. And yeah, but this person did that. And if it wasn't for this person doing this, then I would have never ended up here. Or if I had just made this decision instead of that decision, none of that is going to help you. It feels like it's helping you to accomplish something because it's taking up energy and burning energy, and it is taking up time for you to sit there and assign the proper blame. But again, when we're thinking about the analogy that I gave in the last video, having an emotional or mental disorder is like being lost in a forest or a maze somewhere without a map, without GPS, and all you have to, figure out how to get out of there is like your gut, your intuition. It does not matter how you got there, whose fault it is or is not. Okay, so every time you feel that feeling come up, do away with it just for this process. Okay, and then the last one is apathy. Now, like you and I, any one of these, trying to cut out any one of these emotions is going to be difficult, but it's especially difficult for anyone who deals with an emotional or mental disorder, which is why I wanted to list it as a bonus tip, because if you are able to harness this ability and able to cut these emotions short, at least while you're doing your self-recovery practice, practice exercises, then it'll help you, in the long run, to start reining in those feelings, because they really don't help you overall in life. Apathy is a big one because it's kind of the boat that your depression sails in. Apathy is when you just don't feel like doing anything. You don't care one way or the other how it works out. You don't care if it's on or off. You don't care if it's hot or cold. You don't care if you do it today, tomorrow, or never. Like, you don't care. So that's an important one to avoid, and it's really, really tough to avoid it. Again, if you deal with any sort of, if you're like anything like the people who are watching this video, like you and I in this community who have mental emotional disorders, but it's hard to deal with when you don't have something pressing and trying to weigh you down, your emotions. But it's even more difficult for people like you and I when we have things, traumas and past injuries. It's even more important for people like you and I who have gone through past traumas and whose emotions have been weighed down, and mental abilities and faculties have been weighed down by these issues, to tackle these three emotions. But in order to get off to the most successful foot possible, I want you to work consciously. I want you to work consciously on avoiding these feelings: self-pity, guilt, and apathy. Okay, now the reason why basically is the same for all three reasons. The reason why you don't want to dwell in these emotions is because they're not going to help you to get from the point that you're at now to the point that you want to get to. Remember when in the last video, we identified where we are currently, and then in this list making process, you're going to identify where you want to be emotionally, where you want to grow to, who is your emotional idol, like who do you want to be like, or who do you see yourself being in the future, who is your dream version of you. As you're building that person, none of these feelings are going to help you to do that. All of these feelings, all that these feelings do, self-pity, guilt, and apathy, is hold you back, keep you where you are, and hold you back, and help to aggravate the situation that you already feel. If you already feel depressed, these feelings are going to aggravate that. If you have anxiety, if you have schizophrenia, if you have OCD, these emotions are going to aggravate that situation and keep you stuck there longer. Okay. So then how do you stop? Okay. How do you stop? You have to basically just, there's no magic pill. Okay, I hope you didn't get to this point in the video thinking that there's going to be a magic pill, because I'll tell you now, whether you ever hear me say it by accident or you hear someone else say, I don't know how I'd say by accident, but if you'd ever hear me say it or anyone else say it, there's no magic pill to you tackling your self-recovery, other than for you to get in between your thoughts and your actions and your emotions, and allow the you that's listening to this video now, your higher self, the you that wants to be better, you allow yourself to get in between your emotions and your thoughts and yourself, and say, despite how I'm feeling now, I'm going to move forward. You literally catch yourself in the moment of being pitiful, apathetic, feeling guilty, feeling shame. You catch yourself like, oh, wait, okay. And it doesn't matter how far down that train of thought you go. The moment you catch yourself doing it, you stop yourself, and you can say, sometimes I talk to my brain like it's another being, because sometimes your thoughts are just going to be your thoughts. You don't have to identify with them as yourself. They are just your conscious thoughts. But sometimes I tell myself, and you can tell yourself, stop. Like, okay, brain, stop. I hear you. That's old thinking. We're moving past that thinking. We're growing past that. However you want to do it, but that's how I did it. Literally was talking to my brain and my thoughts like they were separate from myself, because a lot of times we identify with, well, this is how I think and this is how I feel, so this is who I am. Your thoughts are literally like a a mixture of all of the realities that you've had in your life from the time that you were a child to what you're living currently, and you no more have to identify with them than you would waves in an ocean. You can let them come and go. The ones that resonate with you, you can pick to hold and expound on within yourself. The ones that don't, you can let them go. It is literally that simple. Not easy, but it's that simple. Choose the thoughts that resonate with you, and the rest, let them go. So that's basically how you do it. That's how you stop these things. There's no magic pill. You have to find a way to trigger yourself. I talk about pattern interrupts in a lot of my videos, where some people walk around wearing like a hair tie on their wrist. You may see people doing this. It happens a lot in business. You'll see people walking around snapping a rubber band, or using some other type of, you know, maybe even popping themselves on the hand or flicking themselves, something to stop yourself from that train of thought, because you've had this train of thought. You've had these feelings of self-pity, apathy, and guilt circling over and over again, continuing to like perpetuate your situation and make it what it is. And you have to break that cycle. And it's going to be hard, because you're going to want to go back to it, and it's going to happen sometimes unconsciously. You're not even going to realize that you've slipped back into a pattern of being apathetic until you just catch it. You just realize, oh shit, I'm being, you know, I'm pitying myself, or I'm feeling guilty, or I'm trying to place the blame on someone. Let me put that feeling aside, because it's an old feeling. I realize why I feel it, and I'm glad that it resurfaced, because it lets me know that I still have work to do to get that out of my system. And now let me flip it for a positive thought. Okay, so after you stop the thought, you're going to immediately flip it for a positive feeling, something that's going to help you to get up and take the first step towards what you have to do for that day. Whether it's making a list, whether it's watching another one of my videos, whether it's going for a walk, whatever it is that you said you were going to do for that day for your self-recovery process, you need to flip that negative thought, one of those 3 negative thoughts, for a positive to get yourself up. And if you're having trouble getting that goal accomplished, whatever the goal is, you want to exercise, you want to start eating better, you want to start watching more of my videos, whatever that thing is that you want to do to help your self-recovery, if the first step is too small, is too big, break that sucker down. Okay, break it down. I'm a firm believer that whatever you have to do, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, whatever you have to do, or hurt yourself, whatever you have to do in this process while you're on your self-recovery, whatever you have to modify or redefine or remix or shake up to work for you, to make you a better person and get you back whole, do it. So I don't care if you have to break down your goal 10 times until it's a wee teeny tiny baby step. That does not matter. If that's what you have to do to get that first step accomplished, then that's what you do. Because at the end of the day, you don't want the fact that you didn't break the goal down small enough to be the reason why you don't succeed in life. Okay, so that's the entire bonus tip from the last video on emotions that you don't want to carry forward with you on your self-recovery process. These emotions are important to isolate and kind of keep, you know, what's the word when you compartmentalize? Yeah, I don't know, like, I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm just telling you guys what worked for me on my journey of healing and spiritual recovery and spiritual awakening. So I might not use the most correct words or whatever, but hopefully you guys can feel what I'm saying. And I just completely forgot what I was saying. So yeah, but that is it. Those are the 3 emotions that you want to avoid moving forward. They're not only going to help you to get this first step down, which again, the first step was to make a list of all the emotions within yourself currently that you either do not like and or want to change. And then the second step that I said you could also have started to work on if you felt like you had the capacity for the attention span, the time, whatever, to do it, was to also make a list of how you would want to see those emotions change, what you want to trade those things for that you don't like. And then make a list of everything that you love about yourself currently. What do you love? Right now, I'm having you guys just identify different facets of yourself. The list that you make, if you haven't made it already, the list that you make of things that you don't like about yourself currently, emotionally. Okay, so hey, hi. So just signing out for the last video. That's everything I wanted to share with you guys on my bonus tip for the first step towards your self-recovery and making your list of things, going through the list. That was basically what I wanted to share. I had to stop recording really quickly because a man came to throw his trash away. I was actually over there recording behind those dumpsters. I know it's weird, but don't judge me. Judge your mother. It's like, but I actually got a chance to give him one of my little YouTube cards, and he said he's on YouTube all the time. So if he's watching this video, nice to meet you, John. I hope you find some things on this channel that you can, you know, use and share with others to help you live a happier, fuller, more prosperous and abundant life. Thank you guys so much all for watching. If it's your first time on my channel, please feel free to subscribe. This is kind of a conglomeration of a mental health, emotional health, and intelligence, conscious living, mukbang, have fun, be your best self, and grow and teach other kind of community, if you got all that. So thank you all so much for watching and tuning in. More light, life, love, and prosperity to you all. Peace.